Shalom L'chaim, everyone. I'm going to do a special series in the Pirkei Avot, all within regards to wine today. Where is it featured in the ethics of the fathers and everything else? In fact, friends, we will see that wine, yayin, is actually featured in the ethics of the fathers on 4 different occasions. So I would share a l'chaim with you guys while we will share an idea together within regards to wine in the Pirkei Avot. Very, very good wine, top quality in Israel and everything else. So it's actually interesting. We see in Mishnah in 20, in the 4th Perek of Pirkei Avot, that Rabbi Meir is going to actually teach something. Al tistakel b'kankan, ela b'mash yesh bo. Yesh kankan chadash male yashan, v'yashan shafilu chadash en bo. So Rabbi Meir is actually saying, I'll translate it in English, don't look at the wine cask, but at that which is in it. There is a new cask full of old wine and an old cask in which there is not even new wine. So friends, what's it talking about here? So Rabbi Meir, first of all, is going to say that, is going to agree that aged wine is actually generally better. And so too is experience in Torah. So Torah and wine has got some sort of correlation over here. The older and aged the wine is, naturally the older the Torah is going to be, also the greater amount of Torah knowledge also is going to be imbued upon a person also. What's actually interesting is that Torah, just like wine can be flowing, also Torah can be flowing. And sometimes you can find younger people that are great, know more Torah even than older people, if they are the Torah scholars and everything else, like we see in modern day, also in certain cases. However, main thing is that our containers, our own containers, we're talking about casks over here, should be full and overspilling with water, just with the Torah, just like wine, we should be overflowing with wine. And we see that wine is referred to in the 3rd Perek of Pirkei Avot. We see it's featured inside the 5th Perek of Pirkei Avot. Also, wine, what is it? Wine is gematria over here of 70. You can see wine, this incredible drink, has got the gematria of 70. What is 70? Naturally, Yud, Nun Sofit, that equals 70. 70 is completion. It's known as a complete number. Where do we see this from? 70 is the nations of the world. 70 nations in the world. 70 nefashot, 70 souls came down to Egypt. We know from Jacob and his 12, the 12 tribes also, there were 70. Also, 70 was the years of King David's life, David HaMelech's life. 70 also is the languages of the world. 70 Ummot HaOlam. So 70 is a complete number that is featured over everywhere. And it's actually interesting. Wine is also featured in a simcha itself. It's central to Judaism. It's central to joy. It's central to happiness, because we know that Kiddush on the Shabbat and the holidays is naturally done. The optimum would be to be drank on red wine. Naturally, it is. We know that we drink 4 cups of wine during the Seder night. Also, we know that Havdalah ceremony on Motzei Shabbat, the Brit Milah, when a baby is born in circumcision, we will drink wine. Naturally, also during wedding ceremonies, especially during the Sheva Brachot, we would drink wine also. That's another place over where it is. And we see it brings joy, but joy, it brings joy if it's drank naturally in moderation. We know many of the doctors would say that a glass of red wine is fantastic for cholesterol and everything else, dry red wine and everything else. But we know that if it's drank too much, we learn in Parshat Noach, the Midrashim relates over, that when Noach actually left the Teva, the ark itself, he came out and planted the vineyard, and it had some not such great effects, because amount he drank also. We see that it's referred to with regards to Nadav and Avihu also. In fact, in the Shir HaShirim song, which we the Shir HaShirim, which many of the Sephardi congregations say on Motzei Shabbat, it's actually, I'll say the pasuk in English. Draw me after you, let us run. The king has brought me to his chambers. Let us delight and rejoice in your love, savoring it more than wine. So it's featured also in Shir HaShirim, also in the Song of Songs, which is very, very actually interesting. We know that it's also referred to. Also, we see the large wines that are brought in Parshat Shelach when the tribes are bringing it with regards to when they were going to make not such favorable report. Some of the leaders and the Nesiim of the tribes we see in Parshat Shelach also it is featured in. And many places it is essential to Judaism. We know that there's certain laws with regards to a Nazir, for example, which we learned in, if you've been following the Daf Yomi, all with regards to a Nazirite. one of the things he's got to separate himself from, because he's considered in a holier state, is from wine and grape derivatives, as long as also not shaving and cutting off the hair also. But what's interesting is that the real joy, real simcha, you need basa and yayin also. And it's saying that many of the rabbis actually say that wine is the greatest beverage. Not only delight, but when you see that it's a religious obligation also. For example, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beteda says that when the temple is standing, rejoicing is only through the eating of the sacrificial meat, as it is stated, and you shall sacrifice peace offerings, and you shall eat there, and you shall rejoice before the Lord of your God, which is featured in Sefer Devarim. And now that the temple is not standing, the Bet HaMikdash, respectively, obviously the first and second one was 410 and 420 years, respectively. One naturally cannot eat sacrificial meat. He can fulfill the mitzvah of rejoicing on a festival only by drinking wine, red wine, as it's stated. It'll be a famous pasuk in the Psalms, in Tehillim, the book of Tehillim, in chapter 104, and the wine that gladdens the heart of man. It's also featured in Masechet Pesachim, in page number 109, in the first chelek over there. So wine, it replaces a sacrifice and thereby fulfills a religious obligation. So rabbis prescribe wine for all central rituals, which I've talked about before, within regards to Kiddush, Passover, Havdalah, and so on and so forth. Also, we know that wine is poured out as a libation offering in the Holy Temple, which we will learn about during the Sukkot festival, which is only going to be in a few weeks' time. So guys, also when we do Havdalah and everything else, or on Kiddush, on Shabbat, also the optimum is, if one is able to drink on dry red wine. That is optimum also. There's a lot of segulot to it, which I would recommend everyone to go into the books and search about it. I'll leave you guys with the l'chaim. Please look over the previous videos in the Pirkei Avot. Wishing us a lot of simcha for all of us and everything that we do. May we be overspilling with wine with our brachot and everything else. And l'chaim, and have a fantastic evening and brachot from Israel and just good things. Have a great day.